The conclusion we reached was obvious. Governor Rick Perry has been a sound leader on patient care issues, and TEXPAC is proud to endorse him for re-election in 2010.
It's an honor to be here today with the good people of the Texas Medical Association. It's a very humbling experience for me to gain your endorsement of my candidacy. I won't say it's the most important physician endorsement I've ever received in my life. That was about 28 years ago when Dr. Thigpen told me I could marry his daughter. That was the most important endorsement I ever got. So, but this one may run a close second, and we've come a long way in this state since my father-in-law was pretty much the health care solution in Haskell County. Technology has advanced at almost a blinding pace, and you know, the market forces have made medicine even more competitive than it's ever been. And I might add the minefields that physicians have to navigate today are probably more hazardous than ever before. One of those hazards is a culture that has gotten more litigious. Doctors targeted for frivolous lawsuits, folks seeking to line their own pockets at the expense of physicians. It was just a few short years ago that the proliferation of these frivolous lawsuits in Texas was making it tougher and tougher to practice in this state. It increased the insurance rates for doctors. It drove too many good physicians either out of our state or away from those high-risk specialties, and in some cases completely out of the practice of medicine. It increased insurance rates for doctors. You know, there were too many areas of Texas where there was a dwindling access to health care because of these frivolous lawsuits. Had, in some areas of the states, made doctors almost an endangered species. That's why we work so hard to pass through those legal reforms that cap non-economic damages and remove the financial incentive for the predatory practices in those frivolous lawsuits. Since the people of Texas voted to amend our Constitution and codify those protections, Texas has seen 10 new insurance carriers come into the state of Texas to compete, and they've contributed to 27% decrease in doctors' insurance rates. Since the reforms passed, the number of doctors applying to practice medicine in Texas has skyrocketed by 57%. There are 14,498 doctors either who have returned to practice medicine or begun practicing for the first time in Texas. That increase brought critical specialties into underserved areas of our state, including 27% more obstetricians practicing in rural Texas and about 200 new doctors in the Rio Grande Valley. We've also seen other positive impacts, like the situation at Christus Health and their facilities all across the state. Before tort reform, they were paying $153 million a year in liability defense payments in medical malpractice lawsuits. Thanks to tort reform, last year Christus paid out only $2.3 million in lawsuit expenses in the entire system. Compared to 10 years ago, Christus provided $353 million in charity care. In 2008, they administered $565 million of charity care, and they are on track for a $700 million mark in charity care this year. In short, tort reform has transformed health care in Texas, and it must be considered with any type of discussion about health care and the reform of our healthcare system. It's important to know the impact of these changes because we need to make sure that our citizens understand the importance of tort reform. When it comes to discussing the healthcare legislation that's being considered in Washington, D.C., as the rhetoric swirls, talking heads take time demonizing doctors and insurance companies, employers, we need to keep our focus on the facts. In August, the Texas Public Policy Foundation issued a report that set aside the soft issues, and it described the proposed reforms in terms that everyone can understand. That's dollars. Turns out we're talking billions of dollars with a B, a big B, that are going to be extracted out of our citizens' wallets without significantly improving access or treatment in our healthcare system. I'm concerned we're going to end up with a system that lacks the vitality and the innovation that comes with competition. If the federal government manages to remove the free market forces that exert downward pressure on prices, we're in big trouble. Don't get me wrong. Our healthcare system is not perfect. The federal government is doing what they do best, and that is spending huge amounts of borrowed money on fixes that don't necessarily solve the problem. The one-size-fits-all approach that it's just not going to work. It hinders our ability to apply local fixes to local problems. It stifles the sort of innovation that states can create when they're given the chance. Now, regardless of which approach Washington chooses, I can assure you that it's going to feature one key message. They want more control of your health care, and they want it now. I look forward to keeping the focus on patient-centered care, working with this group of physicians all across this state to improve our system, not just simply waiting for Washington and their next mandate on how to deliver health care. The fact is, we owe it to our citizens. We owe it to their patients. They're the ones who have to pay for it. They're the ones whose families will be most affected by the outcome of the debate. I'm really grateful to the members of the Texas Medical Association. Care that they give the people of this state every day, it is the fulfillment of their life's calling. And I accept their endorsement with humility, and I also accept it as an affirmation of my record and an encouragement to keep working and a challenge for us to stay on point so that we can have better health care and the people of the state of Texas will be better served. So with that, let me say thank you to each of you in a personal way. Anita and I are most grateful for your friendships and this endorsement.